Okay, I do think we are already live. I just need 1 second to open my window and actually see comments. Okay, perfect. So, welcome everyone to another one of our live discussions of yesterday's Sunday service. I am here with Laurenzi, Rivati, and Michaela, and we have a lot of juicy things to discuss. Yesterday's live service was very, I don't even know what word to use. There was just a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, and like a lot of things in there. And I'm definitely looking forward to, like going in depth and discussing that and picking it apart a bit and just seeing what jewels God has to reveal to us today here. And to begin with, I will give the stage to Laurenzi, who will start talking about this song that was, I think her name is Ishana, that Ishana did for yesterday's Sunday service, and talk just about like the beginning part of the service. So, Laurenzi.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Well, the song was really, I don't know, like, was really divine for me when I heard it. Really felt a lot of peace and a lot of joy into that. And I haven't heard the original song before, to be honest, to hear it before, because as you know, like Jeff rewrote this song, and Ishana sang it, and it was really beautiful to hear her sing this song, and really brought a lot more clarity and peace into my heart. And I know it was just amazing. Like, there are not really so many words, and really looking forward to hear more songs that are gonna be done like that. So that's really amazing. Um, I know I don't have more words for this because it's just amazing.
It was really, I love that song. I have to say, I was like, I didn't catch the first couple of minutes of the service, and then when it was over, I went back to the beginning and like listened to the song, and I was like, wow, this feels like, it just like felt really good to like listen to it. It's, like, and for everyone who's like interested in what exactly is going on with like the music we're producing at the Church of Union, our website went live yesterday, and you can see a like statement letter kind of thing from Jeff, where he like explains what exactly he's doing with the music department and how all of this music is being created. So yeah, definitely go and have like read that, because it's like really, I was just like really enlightening and very beautiful to read, and just like, to like see that like we're starting to create music that is perfectly in alignment with God and is expressing like the artist's creative like true self and divine self. So yeah, just a very beautiful thing.
Mhm.
I just wanted to add something there. It felt like with his music coming out, it's gonna feel like if you want to do inner work, you just gotta listen to some music. So it's like if you just listen to some of the song lyrics, or just listen to a song, and you're done with your inner work, it would just like easily takes you through your own feelings and just reaffirms your own choices. So I felt like that's a good like that felt good.
Yeah, I agree. It felt really healing, and it was like, because in some songs they're really beautiful songs, but you can feel like where it's off, and you can feel like the separation in the song. But with this song, it was just so healing and just like pure, and it was just like there's so much love, and it was just like healing for your heart. And I can't wait for the other music to come out. I don't think I'll listen to regular music anymore. I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too. And I have to say, the song that Ishana created for the last 2 or 3 sermons that they played at the beginning, I love that so much, and how they like edited that with like pictures of people from our community and Jeff and Julie. I was like sitting there like just listening to it and kind of like crying, because I was like so emotionally touched by it. It was so beautiful. So I'm definitely looking forward to the next couple of weeks and the richness and goodness we will receive from the music there. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. So Laurentiu.
Yeah, I know. I started, and all of you provided even more a complete picture of what the song was. Everyone with our own perspective, so that was really nice. And I know afterwards, I really enjoyed Revati's meditations. I know Revati, you're doing such a good job with that. Like, I just love it. Like, it felt so healing to go through that, and it really. Yeah, I know for me it was like very powerful. Like I really felt it like very deep.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and really comforting as well. Really like it brought me a lot of safety and a sense of home. How it was the meditation with the home. So that was really nice. Really brought me in a really beautiful space for preparing me for the sermon. And I liked how you invited everyone to to choose to interact only with God, only with the God in everything. So that was again very beautiful. So I really enjoyed your meditation.
Thank
Me
you.
too.
Thank you. That's
Oh.
really sweet.
Well, I thought it was really sweet how you talked about like how your home is literally there just to like love you and support you, and that I just felt so like comfortable because I had like a blanket and I was just like so cozy, and I just felt like God everywhere. And the meditation was just so healing, and it was like, yeah, it was really powerful.
Oh, thank you. That means so much. Means so much.
Hey, before we go into what Jeff and Cher talked about in the sermon, is there anything else you have, Laurenci, that?
Well, about the three cards that Brianna got, the boundaries, the awakening, and trust your path, really, like really go hand in hand. It was really nice. The cards itself, like the message of like really knowing where to listen to God, and boundaries more like, okay, I'm not going to go there because God is not calling me there. So just seeing exactly where you feel guided to spend your energy, where you would like to be, what you would like to do. And that really helps you to, how the other card was awakening, really showing your true self in that moment, because it's not actually mean to put a boundary when someone just tries to take from you, because that will only like not only not serve you but won't serve the other person as well. So it's very good to know when to put a boundary, what is appropriate, because choosing God sometimes may look like that, and that's perfect. Good. And with the trust your path, I really liked it because when the service went on, it really was in a moment that I was like, yeah, I choose to trust my path even more, because like this question, like if you knew you would be supported, what would you do? And that one really spoke to a transition that I'm moving through. So it was like just God giving me a wink, like if you knew you had everything, what would you do right now? It's like, okay, God, I see this, I accept this, and I trust you. I have faith in you, God. So that was really nice to have it. And moving forward, oh, you want to say something?
I
about
just wanted to say, like, regarding that, like, last card of what would you do if you knew you were always fully supported. That's like really that really spoke to me too. And it really speaks to like living in a state of complete like abundance where you don't even like believe in like lack, and you know that you're always going to be supported, which I think is it's how we are created to be, and how like in truth like everything works. And it's just like about like seeing that. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because really, like when we purify ourselves with using mirror exercise, we just get to the place that, oh, we're fully supported, we're with God, so nothing can derail us from our path, nothing can stop us from going forward. So yeah, good. And with Lissy, what she brought up, it was that Jeff channeled the song of the true form of the song. This is what we spoke at the beginning. And this is really nice. And as we already spoke about it, we're not going to go more in depth because it's already all covered. The tithe importance, that's something that I want to speak about. It's because I really like agree with this, because I tithe as well. Like I know at the beginning of this month, when we finally got the opportunity to tithe, I started tithing, and it really felt very good, and God really brought back to me that. And it's really beautiful to do this, because it's giving to God. Of course, really look into your heart and heal any upsets if you have about it. Just use the mirror exercise. When you have this, you're not just going to do it because, oh, everyone says it to do it and I'm just going to do it. You have to see that actually it feels good. Like no matter what, it will feel good. But if there are upsets, it's safe to heal the upsets before you do that, because then you may uh, choose from not a place of love, but from a place of lack, and that won't feel good for you in a way. So really, just heal your upsets with whatever, and you'll see that as you tithe, you actually receive so much more back. Because it's like when you give, I don't remember, when you give one fold to God, is giving you 1,000-fold back, something like that. So
Yeah. I liked how she said you're not giving to God because God needs your money because he's infinitely abundant, but you're giving to God because it feels good. And you're giving to yourself, and it's just, yeah, like not because God needs it, but because you love God. I really liked that.
yeah, exactly. And as well, this will help the church expand and really help provide so much more for everyone. And it will help all of this movement, the unionism, to really go forward in a much better way. And we will see what updates will be along the way, what God awaits for us. Yeah. Uh, yeah, that's for it for this. I don't know if you got something else, Lizzie.
Let me think. I don't think that, I mean, you kind of like mentioned, I think everything that she brought up. At least I don't
Yeah.
have anything else
Yeah.
just coming up.
The other thing would be that she mentioned some things that she introduced some things that Jeff and Shea will go through.
Yeah.
That's another. Good.
Absolutely. So with that being said, thank you, Laurenzi. I think we can go into what Jeff and Shelia, what they, or everything they mentioned in the sermon. And the overarching theme is paradise, or the Garden of Eden, which I think it's a very beautiful like topic. And it's like, this theme, as Shelia also said, it's this myth that exists basically in every culture at all times, and even in every religion. And I loved how she said that, look, like it's everywhere. That means it has to be like ingrained in our soul somewhere. It has to be like a part of us that like everyone feels connected to and knows. And it's all about where we once came from. So basically answers the question of where did we come from? What is our origin? How did we live when God created us in our, like, how did we live in our pure state of like how God intended us to live? So that's, just to kind of give an overview, that's all the things they went into. And yeah, to kind of start this off, like when I rewatched the service, it like started with Shelia just gave us like this overview of all these religions and cultures that had this like concept of paradise, and they all had different names for it. And maybe saw it in some different ways, or like in different locations or whatever, but in all cases that like place, that like paradise, it was like a place of complete harmony and peace, where like there was no war, there was no discord, and everyone lived like in like just like perfect union with God and with the world around them, and just in peace. And that's like the thing that was, another word was like this, like living in complete happiness, and in truth and bliss, and being completely aware of who we are, of God and of spirit, and that we're conscious beings and all of that. And that's where the story of the Garden of Eden comes in. That is like the story that like Shelia mentioned from the Bible. The story of like how we fell from that paradise, which is just a consequence of us, our fallen consciousness. So that story is just, Jeff kind of concluded that at the end, but they also mentioned in the beginning how that story is simply like a metaphoric story for like this fallen consciousness. So yeah, I think that's kind of, how I want to like put a break in and see what you guys have to say.
Well, there's a lot that you said there.
I know. I just like I just came out.
Yeah. So yeah, with the paradise, with the Garden of Eden, I really enjoyed that. Seeing that there is this place where we're so pure, where God created us, and from that place, of course, like from what Jeff said in the service, was that we had this curiosity. In a way, we were like, okay, what will happen if we knew everything, like God? But actually, like that's not something that you'll actually would really desire there, because why would you need to know everything like God knows? Because anyway, you cannot become God. But in that moment, even though like it is maybe as a curiosity, as they said it in there, and this is only to show that we believe that we have a limitation in the moment, that we cannot know everything. But that's not a limitation that is to bring any harm to us. It's actually like we don't have to know, we don't need to know all of that. How boring it would be for you to know everything in the world. Like someone asks you a question or try to play a riddle game or something, you already know all the answers. What's the fun in that? You will always win. But win in the way that you'll be like a machine that knows all the information, like the internet. In a way, it won't be that fun, because in that moment you'll have all these things, and what's the use, what's the purpose? And that's behind all of this. What's the purpose of you knowing all of that? There's not necessarily a purpose. It's a purpose for you to know some things, that those will help you, but God will give you those peace the right moment. And now, even in that story, how it was like with Adam and Eve, it was that they tried to know everything, and how they started with the first feeling of shame. They started feeling shame and hide themselves. And that's really about you feeling, oh my God, I'm like, look at me, what's going to happen? I'm vulnerable here. Actually, I mentioned that. And it came a fear. And of course, all one by one, it kind of evolved into more and more like shame. And then that was the first thought of separation that happened. And then after shame, it came blame. And I like how that rhymes, shame, blame. But with that, like, it's really about like pointing at someone else for something that happened, for like you feel unsafe, so you're gonna blame is that person. That and as they said in the service, it's not about like, oh, they were naked and then they got clothes. That's just the way they spoke about it, because that was the time. That's how the times were in those moments, because it's uh Kayuga, the Dark Ages. That was when it was written. Therefore, in those times, that was the understandings that the people were having to relating to these concepts. So you should understand that as well. It's not literally you're gonna take everything. Like they didn't have clothes, they took clothes, and then they don't feel shame anymore. It's something much deeper into that, and it's really bringing more and more into the helplessness afterwards. After the blame, it comes this helplessness that you cannot do anything. Everything is against you, because of the blame, you're not taking any more responsibility of whatever is happening around you. And it's basically like something happened to you, or something is in your reality that you don't enjoy, and then you're gonna say, is that guy's problem? Or how it was in Revati's meditation, even your annoying neighbor, it's a gift. It brings you a gift. So you're responsible for manifesting that place where that annoying neighbor is. And as you hear that gift that you receive from your annoying neighbor, you're going to have more peace in there. And that's how you can take back that responsibility and say like, okay, I'm going to take responsibility of my feelings and I'm going to heal that. Using the mirror exercise, as we know, it's like very powerful, very easy to use, and very effective.
Yeah, I really kind of want to go a bit deeper into this, like, you know, how they were talking about helplessness being the, wait, let me see how they called it, because basically
The foundation of all sin.
That's what I was looking
Yeah.
for. Okay. Like helplessness being the foundation of all sin, because that's like, you know, when you think about like, you know, without knowing this, like what would be the foundation of sin? I don't think that helplessness would be the first thing that would have come to my mind. And you know, that's like so interesting, because Shadia talked about this a bit later in the sermon too, how like we innately know what is good and what is in alignment with God. Like we know the difference between good and evil, but there's a difference between knowing and doing good. And like you have to follow through, like through with your actions on your words. But it's like helplessness, you know, really speaks to this like concept of like, I know what is good and evil, but like I can't help myself to do evil. And then like, you know, the blame comes in of it's not my fault, like it's the snake's fault, it's the man's fault, it's someone else's fault, it's the woman's fault, you know, kind of what came up in what was mentioned in the Adam and Eve story. But basically deflecting it from yourself, not taking responsibility and putting the blame on someone else, and seeing yourself as that helpless being who is like, there's nothing I can do, I'm stuck in ego, I'm stuck in fear, and there's, you know, and that's like, you know, to kind of bring this to like our current time and like how we're dealing with like healing and the mirror exercise. That's like, you know, something that I feel like, you know, especially when you start being on a spiritual journey and you start healing, we all have these blocks where like, you know, we sometimes feel like, oh, how can I heal this block and everything? And in time you kind of realize like you can heal everything, and it's just a choice. You are never helpless because God is always helping you to heal, and ego is not real. So why give power to something and make yourself helpless in the face of something that isn't even real? But it's really, you know, like no matter what you're experiencing in your reality and what you need to hear, you always have a choice to do that, and you always have a choice how you're acting and what you are doing. And you know, when it comes to compassion, I think Jeff once, this is not from the sermon, but it kind of is related to this. Jeff said in one class, and maybe it's like a quote that I read somewhere in our community, that people always know what they are doing. No one is just like being a jerk and not knowing that they're being a jerk. Like we are always aware of our choices and what we are doing. And having compassion with someone is not like, you know, saying like, oh, that person has, for them, they don't know what they're doing, they're not spiritually awake yet, and they're like not even aware that they are harming other people. Like that's not what it is, because no one is helpless and everyone is fully aware of their actions and what they're choosing. Yeah. That is what I had to say to this.
Yeah. It's really interesting with this, because the only way it would be numbing, but even then you know that there is something there from what you're saying.
And God always gives you like many opportunities to make new choices, so that's all you have to do. But one thing that I was just wanting to talk about was how they said that when you're given a name, it establishes a relationship. I just think that was so amazing. And that. Like I just thought it was so cool, because it's so true. Like you can't really have a relationship with someone who doesn't have a name, because you know, like that's just a form of relating to something, someone. I just thought that was so deep and so loving, that God gave us names, you know, and a name as like humanity and as man and woman. And yeah, I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. I really liked in that story how Adam started giving names to everything around him, to the animals, to the plants, to everything. So he goes in a relationship with God there and with God's creation, and
with life itself.
Yeah, with life itself, and that's so beautiful. And I know, it just felt so freeing to know, like, so that's what it means. It actually, we create a relationship every time we learn something's names. Like even a cup, you have a relationship with the cup. With a chair, you have a relationship with a chair. With everything around you. So it's really fascinating to look from this perspective now.
You know
it
what I
really
just
is.
had to think of? I just had to think about my Christmas tree because I actually named him Paul. I don't know. The first thing I got my
yeah.
Christmas tree and I just named him Paul, which is, obviously not kind of the point of this, but it's like, just like showing how we're having a relationship with God through like everything, because God is in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's also why, when we meet a new person, the first thing we do is like ask the other person, like, hey, what's your name? Because that's like
Right.
what like our
Starting a
relating is.
relationship. Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't be one of those people that are like, I'm horrible with names. I'm just kidding. It's a joke. But I'm just kidding, yeah. But it is so true. I loved that. And I also loved how they said Adama means ground and Adam means man. And that man came from the earth because like your physical body. And they talked about embodiment and how that embodiment like is the metaphor for like being naked and vulnerable. It's just being in a physical body. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Going back to kind of, Cosmic Care, what you kind of mentioned was like kind of actually, going a bit back to like how like the time when everything was created. And one thing that I really loved that she said was how like in the Bible it says like God created the world and he created man and he looked at it and saw that it was good. Yeah. And I like when she said, I could like it just like it made me so happy in my heart. It's like God created something. I was like, oh wow, my creation is so good, which like literally speaks to like us being like perfect and being good, and being like innately good.
Right.
And every belief where like we feel like we've sinned, we've wronged, like shame, that like the first thought of separation being shame is really showing us how we we separated us from God and how God created us, which is good, and like were ashamed of ourselves for some reason, so like we didn't see ourselves as good and perfect anymore.
Right. And she talked about how like you cannot you can never separate yourself from the divine, but you can experience that illusion. And that's all that was the beginning of the illusion of separation. And then she talked about how like we're all created to thrive and help God's creation thrive, and that when we are not acting in alignment with God's will for us, we tend to like destroy creation and diminish creation rather than give to it. And then I liked how she talked about that's what we're experiencing with like the climate and the earth. But although it seems like a big like catastrophe happening, she says it's actually a great realignment happening because our consciousness has improved. We're not in the dark ages anymore. And so we're just realigning, and it's like causing all of this upheaval. And I just thought that was really nice, that it's not like, like the end of the world, end of times, doomsday. It's actually just everything is realigning.
Yeah, I love that too. Yeah, I really love that part where she talked about how our life purposes are geared towards like bringing like like working to have God's creation thrive.
Yeah.
And we in turn are thriving off God's creation, and then the more we thrive off God's creation, the more we can work to allow God's creation to thrive even more. But it's like just like such a beautiful concept to, instead of like kind of what is still happening in so many places in this world where we're like in the cycle of destruction and war and whatnot, like turning that entire thing around and gearing everything towards bringing everything to flourish and thrive. And like just like imagining a world where everything is just like thriving. That is such a like beautiful, rich and abundant just like world, which is like paradise, which is how we were created to live.
Yeah, and that's exactly like the way to that is by, so they said that the purpose of this story was for people to know the difference between good and evil, but like what really matters is knowing the difference and also doing the good thing, like doing good, being in alignment with love, and letting your actions and your beingness follow through with like that understanding. And when we align our will with God's intention, that's when we start healing the planet and healing and giving to creation and allowing God's creation to thrive. I really liked that.
That's a good point. Like, when I heard that, there's a point that came up to me, and it felt like it's so funny that Shalia said the tree of knowledge was what caused Eve to actually take a bite of the apple, and then she, there was a fall in consciousness. It felt like in today's time, we see that people who like really hungry for knowledge, like, so they might actually know the bookish scripture, the priests, for example, or like anybody you can take who might be really knowledgeable, who might know a lot, and who may think that they know a lot and feel like they are God themselves. And there's like this sense of arrogance that comes in, and then that's that fall in consciousness. So it felt like there are many people, like you see it in our community also, that I know a lot of people, especially when I was brought here for the live to discuss with you guys, I felt inadequate. I felt like I didn't know anything. I thought that I didn't have enough knowledge to contribute. And it felt like there's so many other Indians who know a lot of Vedic scriptures and who know a lot of mythological stories and so many things. But when I look deeper in how Jeff and Julia have actually taken care of the community, is like the people who have been so like knowledgeable and who know a lot, but they were removed from the community just because their intention internally wasn't aligned with the divine. It wasn't aligned with the good. So it reminded me of that, that it's so important, like later on how Jeff and Shreya speak in the sermon, that it's a purification. So as long as you just, so that you come out of the fall, the only way to do that is to purify yourself, and you can do that internally only. So no matter how much spiritual, how godly you may appear externally to the world, that doesn't count. Like, it's all internal.
I love that. It really speaks to what kind of, what is the purpose of knowledge? Because just, to have knowledge in itself, it's like, you can read every book on this earth, but like, what's the purpose of that? Because the only purpose of knowledge is to bring you, to purify your consciousness and bring you closer to God. And that's why it doesn't matter, how much like factual knowledge you have. It just matters how much you choose to align yourself with God, and how much you've purified your consciousness. And the more you purify your consciousness, the closer you are, you are with God, and all your knowledge, like the knowledge you really need to have, comes from God. So thank you so much for bringing that up, Rebbati. That was really, beautiful.
That actually reminds me of how Shalia talked about how the Kali Yuga cycle ended in the 1700s. And that's actually when man started to embrace like more knowledge, but it was based on like ignorance lifting. And like the Renaissance took place and science was established, and people were allowing God into their lives more, starting to see ourselves as conscious beings instead of just like bodies. And what I thought was interesting is I actually, like, I've read about the Yuga cycles before, but I actually thought we were in Kali Yuga because I didn't realize that like that cycle ended. So when she said that, I was like, oh, that's so awesome. We're not in the Dark Ages. We're actually in like the beginning of the Golden Age. So I thought that was really cool. And yeah, like we're in the age of beginning to understand that we do create our realities based on our thinking and beliefs. And that's like correcting that thought of helplessness is what we're doing now.
And like about this, I really enjoy what they said as well about this distort God's intention into domination diminish his life, because it's like all this knowledge, all these things that you said that okay, they're gonna have like the purpose. If you just distort God's intention just because you have the knowledge, to sum up what Yurevati said as well, and Michaela, is like there's no real purpose if you're just gonna take the words and you're gonna make it your own and something that is not
Yeah.
aligned with God.
Right. The purpose of knowledge is to help God's creation thrive. But if you use it, and that kind of goes back to like the 10 Commandments, like not using God's word for your own means, but just to like give to God.
Also,
really
Shivani commented something really interesting that, is like related to this. She said, yes, nothing matters if you are educated or knowledgeable. What you believe and think comes out in your actions. So knowledge is basically, is what leads us to like act, and is, like where we make the choices of how am I going to act? Am I going to act in like accordance and in alignment with God or not? And if we don't know which is which, that's kind of, that's what we're like learning. That's what we're purifying our consciousness to like really feel and choose to be in alignment with God and then act from that place.
Yeah.
And the more you do that, you naturally attract in your harmonious union. Because the next step of the mirror exercise, the next I forgot the word that you used there, but then the next expression, let's say, of that, it's harmonious union.
He said the next level.
The next level, yes, the next level of the mirror exercise is harmonious union, where you have your divine counterpart, where you can really go even deeper into your relationship with God and have it more into your face. when you have out of alignment choice or belief, and then you can much easily see it and just choose differently there, and you can choose easier love, so you can bring that. And that's what I love a lot about their teachings, their school. Like they bring you in harmonious union, they help you to have that into your life, and then like have so much more and evolve like into your best self. And it's not waiting until the word is gonna get there, because they said about this, you can wait because the word anyway is getting there, but you can help actively by choosing to claim your harmonious union, by doing the work, by purifying yourself and achieving that. This way you help everything move forward much faster. And of course it's gonna be very beautiful for you. Like how couldn't it be actually? Because having more love, everyone wants that. Even if they say no, I don't want more love, it hurts me or something, that's just an upset that you can go through. So
Yeah, I love that, because I actually had a bit of an upset when they said the next age starts in 3900 the year. I was like, no.
Like, what? That's it, like 1,800 years. Like, no.
Like, not another 1,000 years in separation, but, and then it was really healing when they were like, but you can get yourself there much faster by, purifying your consciousness and actively choosing to like restore yourself, because we come from a place where there are no cycles and there's no time and there's nothing like that, like as children of God. So we don't have to wait. And by us, one thing I was realizing is by us choosing to, what Shalia says, hasten the process, is we're actually making it come faster. And when you choose to purify yourself like that, you become a, what was it, bodhisattva? Is that, how do you pronounce that? Somebody who like comes to help heal the world. Yes. Yeah. And she said when all of the most enlightened people get together to heal the world, that peace naturally expands. And I just thought that was really nice, because that's kind of what we're doing, healing and purifying.
Exactly.
Yeah. That. Oh, everyone at once.
Yeah.
You go first, Rabati.
No, just that I really love that. That was, I think that sums up everything. I love that she said there are no cycles in truth, that the fact that cycles existing means separation. Because a lot of people, like even like everyone thinks that Kali Yuga is going on right now and we're still in the dark ages, but we actually are not. So it's, like people still have that inside their head, but it's nice that this information gets out and they know that It was
Yeah.
really nice.
We're not
Yeah.
slaves to time. Like we don't have to wait for a certain year to have our heaven on earth and be in the golden ages.
You don't
can
have
do
to
it.
wait for your good.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, like by you two being upset by that year, you know, and healing it by purifying within yourself, you already purified even more and help everyone to just have it
Hmm.
faster. I don't know if you've seen
High
it this
five,
way.
Denisa.
Oh, what?
Nothing. Never mind.
I said by purifying yourselves with that upset, you know, because you had upset about, oh my God, I have to wait so much to see that year. Like, but by you healing that, you already allow it to come much faster.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know
Because I
that.
was.
Oh.
Oh, go ahead. That's okay.
You know, like I kind of, it was interesting how she, you know, like that Julia like said that you like you know, you have either the choice to like, you know, make it happen faster for you, or you can just like wait it out, because it's going to happen if you actively do something or not, because you all want like collective consciousness, and you're just going to get like dragged along. So like there's really no way to basically not like this, like God's will is going to happen, and God's will is that we return back to paradise, and there's nothing you can do against it. You can either resist it and like wait it out to happen, or you can actively choose to heal now and make it happen even faster for you, because we all want to go back to paradise. We all want that. So, you know, like I think that was like, you know, talking about this asset with like it being in almost 2000 years, it's like it doesn't have to, it can take that long if you just like sit around and wait it out, yeah, but if you choose to just do your healing and purify your consciousness, it can probably happen so much faster.
Right. And that's actually what they use Jesus as an example, that he proved that you can live like a god, because that's how we're supposed to live, because Jesus was able to manifest miracles out of thin air. And then they talked about the yogi
Sai
who was
Baba.
able to, and
Yeah.
I thought that was cool, because we're meant to live that way, and you can now. It doesn't matter like where you are, if you're on earth or in heaven, you can still manifest your heaven on earth. So that was really empowering and very healing, because I was really triggered, and it brought up so much like darkness, and it was very healing, and I'm really grateful for it. And it's nice to talk about it now and like share that and hear what you guys have to say.
The part that, you know, in regards to this also that I really loved is when Shalia said that like all these prophets, especially because, you know, like Jesus and all these religions were founded in the Dark Ages, and a lot of prophets came like in the darkest of the Dark Ages, to like kind of snap people out of that cycle and out of that like state. And I feel that's like, you know, like kind of looking into you know, talking about gurus and like prophets and all of that, they're kind of the catalyst that is like snapping you out of this like cycle you've been stuck in, and then they come and they just shine light, so that you can finally see like what is going on, and you can get out of this cycle and make a new choice and move so much faster, like choose paradise, basically choose heaven on earth and move there so much faster.
Yeah. And that's when all the people who choose to do that will probably end up getting reincarnated, like kind of like the Dalai Lama. And just like the mission is to help heal the earth. I think that's so beautiful. And it really helps me see like all of this helps me see that only love is real. Like even though humanity experienced these dark ages and life being so painful and hard, like God was just there for us all the time. Like all of the religions were there to support us through that. And like, yeah, it's inevitable to find heaven, and you can wait it out, but that would just be painful, like the contrast way. So it's safe just to do it now. And I just think that's so nice, how all of these things were just meant to support God's children and coming back home to heaven.
We're meant to live like gods. Isn't that deep?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that Shalia mentioned Sai Baba. I was just like, yay, because that's such a very intimate, like personal story that generally parents narrate to children here. So when you're growing up, like you hear a lot of stories about Sai Baba, and he was this saint who would, you know, heal people, anything. just the fact that his place is still here alive, and there's a fireplace that he used to always sit by and heal people around there. So people taking on their illnesses or any troubles that they may be having, and people who have lived in his times have witnessed these things, like visually, where they've seen him perform these miracles. And just the fact that these stories have been passed down, so people would really believe that, yeah, like that's a real thing, that's a very real thing that happened. I also like there's this, the fireplace still burns to this day. Like the time that he was alive, that fireplace is still maintained, so the people still keep it that way. And these are like places of pilgrimage where people from everywhere would come and visit, you know. So it's nice. Like I really like that. She said that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. How long ago he lived? Because that's something that I'm not really aware. If you
I
know.
think this was like hundreds of years ago, but it's not very. He's not very old. Like it's not very, ancient. But
So
it's
it's
pretty recent. It's not like way back thousands of years ago kind of thing. But I'm not sure. I don't know the exact the year. But
yeah, it's
yeah,
perfect.
this is what he looks like. Like I have a picture here.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
Well, yeah, I've seen pictures. I don't know much about him, but that's familiar. Yeah, that's really beautiful.
And it's really impressive to keep a fire for so long.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah.
100 of years is still something impressive.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like people say that when you visit that place, like a lot of miracles happen in your life. So just being able to touch the fire, like you just do this over the fire and take the blessing, that would be very healing. They do that.
love that. That's such a beautiful tradition.
Thank you for sharing this with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all remain in silence a bit with these stories.
Yeah.
So beautiful. But yeah, really these things with even Jesus performing miracles with sorry, but the name can you repeat it again? The name of
Sai Baba.
Sai Baba. Yeah. It's really impressive to see that to really see that yes, everything is energy, everything is love, and everything can be manifested in that way. And it's only our illusion that stops us from doing that. And all of us, we have a lot more, or who knows how much we have, but we have things to heal. But as we heal those things, we get into that consciousness, we get into that state that we can do that. Of course, we don't know what does that mean. And in the second place is like, what's the purpose of that? Why would God give you something like this? Because okay, like everyone would like to manifest money from their palms, but what's the purpose of that? What's really the purpose? And that's really something else. Finding the purpose in all these things, living like God, finding the purpose in that. So that's something interesting.
Yeah,
Such
and
a
that's
good
what.
point.
Yeah, and they talk about realigning your consciousness to that, because we're all meant. Shalia said we're all meant to have these deep spiritual gifts, but exactly, like if there's no purpose, if you're going to use it not aligned with God's will, then it's not really appropriate for you to have those gifts. And so again, the process of purification is so important.
Talking about the Adam and Eve story, that's kind of why, because like Adam and Eve, then after they like ate from the tree of knowledge, they got like banished from paradise, and God even like like hired this angel to put in their way, to like, to put in as a guard there so they couldn't come back. And to what you just said, Michaela, kind of, like metaphorically, you could see it as like God took like all the like, all the like good, like even the spiritual gifts away from them because they chose to not be in alignment anymore. So they had to be like kicked out of the like spiritual gifts and paradise and everything because they would have used that in a way that would not have been in alignment with God.
Right. And like they were choosing not to have a relationship with God. So like how can they have those gifts? Because God is the source. And also, it was like he put up a boundary. It's just funny that the boundary card came up. And I also did want to talk about how Jeff said this isn't exactly what happened, but it's just a metaphor for like the fall of consciousness. But yeah, I just think that's, God just placed a boundary. He didn't withdraw his love because he would never withdraw love from his children. So I just think that was really healing.
Yeah, it's only us who have the illusion that we're separate from him, and that's why like right now we cannot have all of that. But of course, with the purification, with us really healing this, with us really bringing harmonious union, and this really reminds me how Jeff said about Aurelia, or both of them said about harmonious union between a man and a woman. And then like right now we're healing through that, like how they said, through the feminist action and through the and with the harmonious unions that we have, we're healing these things. We're bringing that to the world much more. We're helping everyone to have that relationship. So we're already in times that we shifted a lot the perspective. Everything is already going in such a beautiful way, and it's much easier to live in this time, knowing all these things, practicing all these things, really going forward with your life.
And I loved how they said it's not just the mirror exercise is the fastest way, but the mirror exercise combined with the twin flame journey is the fastest way to ascend.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Amen.
Yeah. It's the fastest way they found out, and that's the beautiful thing, that they give us their best to have it for ourselves, and that's really so generous from them to give us their gift that they worked with, and it helped them so much, and they gave us that, and we can use that, and we can really grow with that, and really everything that they achieve, because they say this, like everything they achieve, you can have that too. You can achieve it for yourself. Of course you have to have the desire in your heart, and but you can achieve everything there. Nothing is impossible.
Amen.
Although, isn't God just like awesome that he create, like with everything that happened, the fallen consciousness and us having to go back to paradise, we still have like our twin flame next to us doing the entire journey with us. Like that just makes the entire thing like so much fun, actually. Even though we, you can see it as like, okay, humanity like fucked up in a big way. It's just like, I mean, we made a pretty not good choice. Like that remains, like it just is what it is. But like, like God is so awesome that he created us an eternal partner to not only like find our way back to paradise with, but then also spend all of eternity together with in paradise.
Yeah, God's love has been with us all along and will never leave.
Yeah. And it's so funny that it just happened, just like the Kali Yuga and Satyuga, like the cycles, like you can't avoid that. So the fact that all of us have met our twins in this period of time, and like this thing happening itself is like, it's so perfect. Like you can't even avoid it. Like it just had to happen. It just had to happen. And we just went with it. So I like that. Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Amen. Okay, I feel like we've kind of, reached a good point where we can conclude this. Unless someone has something on their heart they need to say, because otherwise they feel like they're going to die. Okay,
I feel complete.
I hear silence, and
There's no separation here to die.
True.
Don't take my jokes so seriously. Okay, well, thank you everyone so much for watching. And we will see you all next week at 12 p.m. EST. Just, quick information, like this week, we just did it at 11 a.m. because we had to adapt a bit. But next week, we're back at 12 p.m. EST, and we'll be discussing the coming service. So bless you all with twin flame love. And goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.